Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music, and today I want to look at the music of Scott Joplin, a composer at the end of the 19th century here in the United States. He's best known for his ragtime compositions. Kind of old fashioned, maybe. I think it's useful though. Let's take a look. So, Scott Joplin has to be reckoned with by any pianist. And if you play piano, you've doubtless run into some of his music. It was enormously popular, beginning with the Maple Leaf Rag, the end of the 19th century, 1890s. And then the World's Fair during the 90s, there was a big explosion of ragtime music. And the signature sound of ragtime is the sound of a steady left hand, maybe something like with a syncopated melody. The two things work together like gears, and it creates an exciting rhythmic world. Well, that's not unlike contemporary music in that way. Um, let's take a look at a score and see how it works. So the magnetic rag is not a tremendously well-known rag. It's the one we're going to be looking at today, though, and it's very typical of Joplin's work. If you don't read music, I just want to highlight to you the sort of individual parts. Now, this steady left hand right here is typical. A bass note followed by the rest of the chord. And it supports a syncopated, slightly bluesy melody. On the top. It's worth analyzing scores like this, and this one is available for free. All of Joplin's music is in the public domain. Let's take a look at it on the screen. I've arranged it so that the bass is in blue and the melody is in green. Joplin always started with a little introduction to establish the key. Look at that chromatic line up to the 5 chord. Well, the way he arranges his bass has always interested me because he uses alternatingly roots and fifths. For instance, from right here, root, fifth, root. Third, root, root, fifth, root, fifth, root, and a walk down. There he's over the third. Root, root, fifth. Listen to the way the bass walks down. It's really exciting. That bass line right there creates a lot of energy. Yeah? That right-hand melody is a hook, isn't it? You've now heard it probably half a dozen times, and I'm sure it's in your ear. Now, the one thing I will say about Joplin, and I'm just going to go back to the score to talk about this briefly, is that he was working within a 19th century harmonic construct. And so in the very first line, the lines that I have highlighted here, the first chords were in the key of B flat major. And the 1 chord is B flat, and that's the first chord we hear. Then the 5 chord F, and then back to B flat. That's a tonic dominant relationship. As you know, I'm trying to move away from those kind of old-fashioned relationships. Joplin was well into them, though, the 5 chord and back to the 1. He's living in it. Now that surprise chord there is a D7 chord, and you can see it here. And it's an exciting moment in the music. The melody goes to the highest point so far. It's actually D7 flat 9. It's like a, big old jazz chord. And of course, D7 is the 5 of G minor. And he resolves to G minor. No surprise there, it's a tonic dominant relationship to G minor, what we call a secondary dominant. And of course, to release from it, he uses the same trick that the Beatles always used. Go to the 4 chord, 1, 5 to 1. Well, 4, 5, and 1, really no big surprises there. So I thought to myself, well, could we still get some juice out of these bass chord relationships, these steady pulses and syncopations? Could we still get something useful out of it? So I said, well, I'm going to just try writing a little something that uses a bunch of borrowed chords from different keys and just shift things around a little bit, something without any tonic dominant relationships, and see if that rhythm and that style of playing ragtime is going to give me anything interesting. I'm sure that could cycle. No tonic dominant relationships there, but the very familiar sound of ragtime syncopation and a steady root chord, 5th chord, left hand anchors it. This sounds a little bit like demented clown music to me. And I don't know, maybe it's circus music from a new century. In any case, Joplin and that style percolated outwards into the 20th century and showed up in stride piano in Chicago, in swing and big band music. And I think it has a place for us as contemporary composers. If we want to let go of tonic dominant relationships, we can, but let's not let go of the instrumental forms that really we know work so well. And we can see it's not so different from what we do already. Kick, snare, syncopated melodies on top, right? Well, you can tell I love Joplin. I'm a pianist. Of course, I love Joplin. I love playing it. I want to remind you, you've got a couple days left to submit something to our holiday subscriber challenge. Martin Heidenreich and I are asking you to do 8 measures of Silent Night, any style at all. Could we do a ragtime version? Probably. It would have to be in 3/4 at 100 beats a minute. There's a link in the description. Well, I hope this has been useful. And you know the drill. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.